The EU is responsible for decimating hundreds of British orchards and therefore killing the country's apple industry, Conservative MP John Redwood has claimed in an exclusive interview with Express. After almost a year of negotiations and multiple missed deadlines, Britain and the EU finally secured a post-Brexit trade deal. Announced on Christmas Eve, Prime Minister Boris Johnson described it as a jumbo Canada-style deal and declared, "All our red lines about returning sovereignty have been achieved. Everything that the British public were promised during the 2016 referendum and in the general election last year is delivered by this deal. The deal is fantastic news for families and businesses in every part of the UK. We have signed the first free trade agreement based on zero tariffs and zero quotas that has ever been achieved with the EU." 2 days before the end of the transition period on January 1, MPs overwhelmingly approved the agreement in a parliamentary vote. As Britain begins its new chapter outside the bloc, in an exclusive interview with Express.co.uk, Conservative MP John Redwood revealed how a largely forgotten British industry is now looking forward to a Brexit bounce. In 1973, former Prime Minister Edward Heath took Britain into the European Economic Community (EEC), the precursor to the EU. Soon afterwards, it became apparent that EEC regulations caused an increase in prices for essential commodities such as food, clothing and fuel. And, according to Mr. Redwood, they also led to the slow death of England as an apple-growing country. Mr. Redwood said, "I remember the structure of our orchards very well. I am originally from Kent, and I remember it being called the Garden of England. There were many, many orchards, producing not just Bramleys but also the famous Cocks and other great eating apples." He added, "But the EU paid big grants to get us to grub up hundreds of orchards, giving priorities to continental ones, which, of course, they favored. We need to reverse that process and offer grants and assistance. We need to be able to grow our fruit." There were 3,000 commercial apple growers in England in the mid-50s. There are now just 500. Susanna Starkey is one of them, and she is said to be pleased that the European experiment is over. Her family owns the only commercial orchard of the original Bramley apple tree and she has found the single market disastrous for the domestic apple sector. She said in 2017, "With the European friendship, the bottom of the market for English apples fell out. There's just been too much competition coming from Europe.